It's because you got to recognize who's the best of the best in this game, and it's not who they're saying it is. It's who I'm saying it is. It's the guys who've been in here for forever and now are still on the top of the game. Like, who's the real baddest dude in the 170 division, and then they were trying to pump up a dude, and then Masvidal goes in there and knocks his ass out after he's been in here since I started fighting in 2004, I think. And then I think he's either been there right then or a little longer, and he just did that. So, and I just did that. So that's the best fighter to me, the best martial artist who's still on top of the game. Like I said, I've been through waves of these guys. There's a couple guys who come in and then they fight for a title or peak and have 3 good fights. They fight for a title, they get the belt, then they get their ass whipped, then they have another loss, maybe have another win and then another loss, and then they're gone with the win. And that's not the best fighters to me. I've been here in 40 years, fighting, still killing. Remember, like, who was it? Like Jake Ellenberger was like peaking for a minute, and then he was the guy, and then he just got worked over, and then he had a couple fights, and he was just gone. And then like Rick Story, and I can't even think of other examples, but there's a whole bunch of people. Grant Manor was one of the best guys for a minute, and he's just gone. Everybody's just here and then gone, here and gone. I'm like, what's up? I'm still here. And those are the best fighters in the world to me.
I just knew that whether I was gonna win the Olympic gold medal or not, I knew that I was done with the sport because I had given everything to that sport, and I pretty much retired. And 3 years later, they convinced me to come back because of the financial side of it, and I ended up coming back. And I almost feel like the same thing here. Like I'm good, man. I know what I'm worth. I know my price, but I don't even think it's financial. I really don't.
Get you ready for Saturday, May 30th. It's UFC Fight Night. Woodley versus Burns. We'll show you the main card once more. Again, it's all coming your way live on both ESPN and ESPN Plus. At strawweight, good main card opener here. Mackenzie Dern, a prohibitive betting favorite right now. She takes on the always tough North Carolina native Hannah Cyphers. You got a couple of contenders for these guys who are off to strong starts in the UFC. Roosevelt Roberts taking on Brock Weaver. Kevin Holland and Daniel Rodriguez, as we mentioned, that fight will be at welterweight. Kevin Holland fighting at 170 pounds after the middleweight tilt not all that long ago. Co-main event at heavyweight, one of the toughest dudes on the planet, Blagoy Ivanov taking on the streaking Augusto Sakai, and of course, eventually just a killer main event between the former champ Tyron Woodley and the streaking Gilbert Durinho Burns. The main card, 9 p.m. Eastern, prelims prior at 6, wall-to-wall on ESPN and ESPN Plus.
Yeah, I'm hungry to compete again, Brett. Before I feel like I was playing with everybody. I wasn't taking, this business serious and taking my fight serious. Now I'm serious again. Now I've been in the gym every single day since my last fight. Now I have a chip on my shoulder. Now I have something to prove, and I'm gonna come back with a vengeance. And I'm ready to come back any day, Brett. As you've seen, I came out tweeting that I was willing to fight Tyron Woodley on 6 days notice, and I held true to that. I was ready to go. I told the UFC I was ready to fight. I thought I was fighting, but they were able to make the fight with Gaethje and Tony, so they didn't need me as their main event. They told me that they were going to schedule me for a later date, sometime in June or July, and fighting Woodley. Don't know what happened. I know that Woodley was refusing to fight me, and I guess he's looking for easier fights with some guy named Dilbert. I don't even know what a Dilbert is, but I mean, no one knows what that is, but yeah, whatever. He's going to move on. So now it only makes sense that I want my rematch with Marty Fake Newsman or a fight with Street Judas Masvidal. I mean, there's no 2 other choices to make right now for me, than those 2 fights. And if I don't get those fights, then, I'll just keep waiting, keep training. Every day that goes by, Brett, it's only getting worse for my competition. I promise you that. I get better every single day I wake up.
Thank you for having me, Mike, and it's a pleasure, actually. But yeah, so the thing was, I actually saw you walking by. I'm like, oh, there's Mike. Let me say hi. And then at the same moment, I'm like, fuck, like he's actually coming down from the elevator because they just told me. So like, I gotta wait for this guy. And well, I mean, what happened was that I wake up day of the fight, and I get a vocal message from my manager that telling me that the fight is off. And man, it's been a crazy 5 months for me where I kept preparing for fights and they kept falling through. So I was like, fuck, man, like it's unbelievable. It's happening again. So this time, the day of the fight, after he missed weight, and I'm like, well, he just missed weight. At least, I mean, it seems like he's fighting. And fight day, man, fight day, you're ready to go. And so, hearing that he was pulling out, and then I was like, man, I want to talk to the guy. I want to see why he did that. Why was the reason? What's the real reason? I want to look him in the eyes and ask him why. And so I was eating. Basically, it was around like noon, and my nutritionist called me and he's like, I saw him because he was walking by to go some of his athlete room, and he told me like I actually just met him and he's probably coming down right now at the lobby. So I just leave whatever I was doing and I went to the elevator, and then that's when I saw you. But I had to keep going and to meet this guy, and he came down, and I started talking to him, and I was like, he was there with his coaches, and I'm like, so what happened? Why did you guys pull out? And he didn't even talk, and his coach started saying like, well, they said a couple of different things. But first he said, oh, the guy fainted, and then we called the UFC medical team. We sent him went to the hospital, and his kidney values were off. And I'm like, I was thinking in my mind, I'm like, man, like the kidney values will be off after a weight cut. Like I think everybody's values of the kidney will be off after a hard weight cut. But so then, but I didn't say that. Then I just basically saw that they were kind of all down. They were all like all upset that the fight didn't happen. And so I was about to walk away, but right before I said, well, Carl, you fucked up, right? And he said, yeah, I did. And then I was about to walk off, and I think his ego got hurt when I made him say that. And I was about half turned around to go, and he looked at me and was like, oh, but I heard you said I was scared to fight you. And I'm turning around and I'm like, hell yeah, you were scared to fight me. I said you were a broken man yesterday because you didn't make weight, and you're a broken man today. And then he squared up to me and he's like, kind of like, I don't remember exactly what he said, but he said something like, kind of like he showed like, oh, if you have something to say, we can fight right here, basically, or something. And that's where I flipped off, and I'm like, man, we were supposed to fight in a couple of hours, you piece of shit, and you pulled out. You could have beat me up if you wanted to in the cage in a couple of hours, and now you pulled out, and now we have to do this all over again. So
yeah. Man, that's such an interesting fight. I've been talking about it the last couple of days. My business partner, Jason Hunt, who I own Meraki Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with, he's really good buddies with Gilbert. So he's been asking me like every single day, what do you think's going to happen, dude? How is Gilbert going to do? Man, I really don't know about that one for a couple reasons. First off, we haven't seen Tyron in there for a long time. And, I feel like, some people are saying he's not as motivated now. Gilbert's been talking a lot of trash. He's kind of become this cowboy character where he's ready to take a fight on a week's notice anywhere in the world. He's got some good momentum right now, just knocked out Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu legend Damian Maia, so he definitely has power. He's got confidence. He's got momentum right now. And obviously he's got the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills, but Tyron Woodley's style is a very tough matchup for a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy like Gilbert Burns, even if you can kind of strike and you got some power, because Woodley, I think, probably carries even more power than Gilbert. I think he's a little bit bigger, structure-wise, and he's going to be tough to be taken down. So if Tyron is motivated and ready to go, I think Tyron's going to be really tough to beat.